Alright guys, welcome to the egg roll in a bowl cooking demo video as part of our detoxification and cleanse masterclass workshop. One of the recipes that we have going for this one, where I show you guys how to get away from restrictive diets and detoxes and instead embrace the whole foods-based approach that supports your detoxification system fully, providing you with the proper amino acids, B vitamins, fiber to support proper bowel movements and gut health, as well as colorful vegetables to support the antioxidants needed for all three steps in detoxification. Now, for this one in particular, we're going to crank up. I'm using the cast iron pan, as I mentioned in my drops in the bucket video. Using the cast iron pan instead of aluminum and Teflon pans is a great way to support your body and reduce some of the drops in the bucket when it comes to toxins. Now, I'm going to start heating that pan up. It will take a minute. And while that's going, I'm going to get the rice going. And by the time the rice is done cooking, our egg roll in a bowl will be done. So this truly is a 30-minute meal. Now again, also as I mentioned in my drops in the bucket, when we're talking about which items we need to buy organic and which ones we need to worry less about buying organic when we're working on a budget, rice is what I almost always go for organic. We're going to try to reduce any kind of risk that we would have of trace elements of pesticides, but also arsenic or other heavy metals that might be along for the ride with some of our rice products. So I got organic basmati rice here, and I'm going to go with about 1.5 cups of rice. And if you're following along in my meal planner recipes, we used bone broth when we cooked up our quinoa to try to get the glycine, the specific amino acid that really supports our body's natural way of producing our master antioxidant glutathione. I'm going to use the rest of that bone broth to cook my rice today. Not only is it going to add a nice depth of flavor to the rice, it's going to help give me those essential amino acids that we're looking for to help support phase 1 and 2 detoxification within the liver. Alrighty. And really I'm hoping that as you guys work your way through this meal planner and through this 2-week program, you really start to realize how important it is to embrace the whole foods-based approach. And we don't have to go through a restrictive lens of detoxification or any kind of dieting when we're looking for optimal long-term health, weight loss, and disease prevention. Embracing a whole foods-based approach really is the optimal way. That we don't have to feel hungry. We don't have to deprive ourselves. It doesn't have to be, a 5-day juice cleanse. We can eat until we're satisfied and full and support our detoxification processes along the way. So, started with a little bit of garlic and ginger there in our pan. And then I'm going to add our sausage. Now, when I was at the store, this typically is when I would try to get organic, but they did not have a straight sausage that was organic, just because sausage is going to have a higher fat content. And I mentioned that in my video, right? The higher the fat content, the more important it is to try to prioritize organic, grass-fed, hormone-free. Alright, so we're going to break this up a little bit and get that guy going. Trying to spread it around to make sure our garlic and ginger doesn't burn as we're cooking along here. And I did want to show you quickly, because I didn't show you in the last video, chopping an onion. Now when we're working with an onion, there's two tops. This is the top end that sprouts out of the ground, and this is the bottom root end here that has some of the little pieces intact. And so I'm going to cut off the top end. We're going to leave the root end intact. Alright? And that's going to help you, this is the root in there, it's going to help keep the onion together as you dice it. Just a little tip if you've ever had trouble dicing an onion. This is a quick and easy way to help hold it together a little bit, where we'll take off that top layer of skin And then I'm just going to go through, make some cuts down it. And I made the cuts, but I left the root end intact. I brought the cuts just about back to this part of the onion, all right? And we dice it up that way. And again, as I mentioned in the video, onions, garlic, ginger, all fantastic foods that support our body's natural detoxification systems, adding some antioxidants, but also being sulfur-rich vegetables that support processes of chelation and detoxification within the body. All right. So this is why, really, using garlic and ginger, not only is it going to add fantastic bright flavor to what we're doing here, but it's also going to provide those essential minerals and vitamins to support phase 2 detoxification and conjugation of those toxic compounds. Alright, so we're going to see here, the sausage is going to release a little bit of fat, but the pan's looking a little bit dry here. So I might add in a little bit of oil if needed, but so far so good. Keeping an eye on my rice over here. It hasn't come to a boil yet, but it will any minute. Alright. Now when it comes to the coleslaw here, again, when I showed you the Dirty Dozen Clean 15 list, as we're trying to prioritize which vegetables we can, which vegetables we can't buy organic, and which ones are more laced with pesticides, cabbage was on the lower end and it was in the Clean 15. So this is not organic. Even though I try to buy as much as I can in organic, this one's not. So I'm just going to wait one more minute and let this sausage cook a little bit more before I add that cabbage in, because that'll cook rather quickly. Alright? So I'm just going to pause the video real quick, wait for that to come up to a boil, wait for this to brown just a little bit more, and then I'll add in the cabbage, and I will see you then. Alright, so we're only 1 or 2 minutes later. Stirred up and broke up the sausage a little bit more. Still has a little bit of pink in it, but that's fine, because it will continue to cook as we add in this coleslaw mix here. I put 4 or 6 cups of coleslaw mix. That's really going to shrink down a little bit as it cooks here. Our rice is just coming up to a boil here. So I'm going to throw a lid on that sucker. Set the timer for 20 minutes and turn it down low. And then keep stirring this guy. Alright. We're going to let that cook down for just a minute. Get a little bit wilted. Make sure it's not coming out of the pan. And then I'm going to add in my coconut aminos. Now this is also, a great way you could utilize extra vegetables if you wanted to throw spinach in here. Peppers, mushrooms are all great additions. Mushrooms would be my #1 choice. Use whatever vegetables you have in there. But I like to highlight that kind of already shredded coleslaw mix is a great time saver and a convenient item that you can just grab it out of the fridge, throw it into this type of item, throw it into, another meal planner later in the week when I do my yellow curry is another area you could just add in some of that cabbage. And again, the cabbage is in our cruciferous vegetables. Again, the sulfur-rich vegetables that are supporting detoxification. And different cabbages, this is just like our standard cabbage mixture, but bok choy, Napa cabbage, Brussels sprouts, kale are other examples of the cruciferous vegetables in that family that really are a great addition to support detoxification. Other items you could add in here are sesame oil, maybe some red chili flakes or sriracha if you like it spicy. A little bit of rice wine vinegar might not be bad too. But today we want to feature the coconut aminos. Alright, so this is a Bragg's Organic Coconut Amino Acids. This is a great alternative to anybody that has any allergies to soy. But it really is an equivalent to soy sauce or tamari. And so I like to highlight it as just like one alternative. Sometimes I do these cooking videos and these meal planners just to show people different options that they have. So we got about a quarter cup. Now the coconut aminos have a sweetness to them. So they add a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of a different flavor, but they still have that same kind of umami depth of flavor and a little bit of saltiness and sodium that comes along for the ride with the whole thing. And that's really it right there, guys. As you can see, this cooked up in half the time of the rice. We still got about 18 minutes on the rice, but that's why I start with the rice. Start with what I think is going to take the longest and let that rock and roll while I finish this up. And again, you know, we could finish this off with some sesame seeds. I mentioned bean sprouts in the meal planner. You could do pea shoots. Any kind of sprouts and microgreens and shoots are extremely nutrient-dense items that help support our detoxification systems again. Great sources, some of them of sulforaphane. And that's it right there. So I'm going to let the rice cook. But that's our pork egg roll in a bowl. Quick, easy, promise you, full of bright and vibrant flavors. And supporting your detoxification system while satisfying your tummy at the same time. And supporting healthy weight loss and sustainable goals there. So if you guys are interested in recipes like this and a free meal planner, hop over to cheftheoryhealth.com. Happy eating, guys. Enjoy.